welcome to Elements of Ayurveda, Empowering Wisdom of Life. I'm your host, Colette, and in this podcast, I hope to empower you to take charge of your own health by sharing the holistic teachings of Ayurveda, the ancient healing tradition from India. We will also discuss topics like health and wellness, nutrition, yoga, fitness, meditation, breath work, and much more, as well as interviewing lots of inspiring people along the way. My humble wish is to help you to connect to your true nature, to Mother Nature, and to each other. If you like the content, be sure to subscribe to the show, and the new episodes will automatically download for you to enjoy. This show is for you, and so I would really appreciate your feedback. You can also do a ratings and review in the iTunes section. Thanks in advance, and now here's the show. Hello and welcome to episode 4 of Elements of Ayurveda. In our previous episode, episode 3, I discussed how the doshas appear in the seasons, how it affects our body, and I gave you tips on how to stay in balance when it's your season. Now today we're going to talk about the transition between the seasons, which is a time when each of us can go out of balance as the environment is not sure which season it's in. It can go back and forth between two seasons. This can cause confusion in our bodies, and this is why we all need to pay particular attention during the transition of the seasons. So right now in this part of the world, we're in summer and we're going to transition into fall. So summer, just to recap what we spoke on the last episode, summer is Pitta season. It's when the qualities of Pitta are high in the environment. That sharpness, that intensity, that heat causes the Pitta to rise in the body. And then we're transitioning into fall and early winter when the Vata energy rises. So that's a Vata season. That's when we have a lot of dryness, spaciousness, mobility, subtlety in the environment. And that can cause dryness in our body. It can cause more movement in our body, maybe tremors, twitching, more nervous anxiety in the mind. And so we need to be really careful to balance out that Vata dosha in the body during fall and early winter, particularly for those of us with a high Vata constitution. And then as we transfer into late winter and spring, that's when the Kapha dosha rises in the environment, because in the environment, the earth is heavy and moist. Maybe there's snow on the ground, maybe a lot of moisture, and that leads to heightened qualities of stagnation, heaviness, slowness in our bodies as well. So we need to make sure we balance out the Kapha dosha during this time, and particularly those with a high Kapha constitution need to really be disciplined in their diet and lifestyle at this time. So if you want more detailed information on that, go back to the previous episode 3, where I talked in detail about each of the seasons and I gave tips for each constitution about how to stay in balance during your season. Today I want to focus on the time in between the seasons, which I talked about is a time when nature can be confused which season it is in, and this can lead to confusion in our body. And so we want to ideally stay optimal health, transitioning smoothly through the seasons. And of course, Ayurveda gives us some really great tips on that. Ayurveda wants us to stay in balance. Ayurveda teaches us that in order to stay in balance, we must keep in tune with our body, in tune with nature as well, and understand our own true nature and follow the rhythms of nature and following the rhythms of the seasons. So just like we change our clothes as we go from one season to another, we need to change our foods as well. We can't just keep eating the same foods, the transition, because this can lead to problems in our body, to an increase in ama or toxins in our body. And this is caused by poor digestion. So for eating the wrong foods in the wrong season, if we haven't made that transition to the next season, it can lead to poor digestion, which can lead to toxin buildup and cause problems in the mind and the body. But let's backtrack a little and talk about, well, what is health according to Ayurveda? And Ayurveda says that health is the seamless flow flow of nature through our bodies, so that we are taking food in, we're digesting it well, we're assimilating it into our body, into our cells and tissues, and then we're eliminating the waste efficiently, so that literally the wastes are just flowing through us, that all our three doshas are in balance, the doshas of Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, that our digestive and metabolic fires are functioning correctly, that we're eliminating efficiently, and that our mind, our senses, and consciousness are working harmoniously together. So Ayurveda takes that holistic approach to health, that everything must be in harmony so that we can feel optimal health, that nature can just flow through us. Remember, we are a part of nature, so we just want to take the food in, to assimilate and to eliminate efficiently, and we need to make sure that we're paying attention to what's going on in our body. Now, when the flow of nature is interrupted, it can lead to the onset of dis-ease in the body and in the mind. There can be stagnation, accumulation can occur. Maybe there's a lack of flow of blood. It could be lymph, it could be air. Food through the digestive tract could be affected. And also elimination can be affected. There could be constipation as well. We have the principle in Ayurveda we talked about before, as is the macrocosm, so is the microcosm, meaning that the environment affects our inner state of our mind and body. And that's what we talked about in the previous episode, how the doshas appear in the seasons and how that has an effect on our body and why we feel a certain way and why we need to pay attention when it's our season, when our dosha, our main dosha is high in our body and high in the season. We really need to be disciplined during that time. So the nature can really affect us. And like I said, in particular, during the joint of the season. Now, lots of things can cause the interruption of the flow. It can be a poor diet, highly processed foods, sugary foods, overeating, maybe excess raw foods. The body has to do a lot of work to digest raw foods. And if your digestive fire is not strong, that can lead to a lot of imbalance in the body. Another cause of interruption of the flow of nature could be lifestyle, stress, lack of routine, lack of sleep, lack of exercise. And for sleep, it could be too much or too little sleep. What we take in through our senses can interrupt the flow of nature. Environmental toxins, of course, we can't control that, but we certainly can control what we're putting on our skin. That's our largest organ, or the household products we're using. I'm going to do another whole episode on that on its own. Also, repressed feelings or unresolved emotions. Everything we take in during the day, not only food, but our experiences, need to be digested. And if they're not digested, if they're suppressed and not dealt with, then that can cause an interruption in the flow of the body. They are still there in the body, trapped because they haven't been digested. Eating incorrect foods for our dosha and constitution. And this information you get when you do a consultation with the Ayurvedic expert. You can find out your constitution by doing the dosha quiz. I have one on my website. That is a general quiz. It gives you a general idea, but to really get into the nitty gritty and know exactly what your specific ratio is of Vata, Pitta, Kapha, it's good to do a consultation. But also eating the wrong foods at the wrong time of day can cause an interruption of the flow of nature, and then eating out of season, which is what we're going to talk about today. Now, the joint between the seasons in Sanskrit is called Ritusandhi. Ritu means season, and Sandhi means the joint or the junction between the seasons. And according to the Ayurvedic classical text, this period of time starts from at approximately 8 days before the end of the previous season and ending 8 days after the beginning of the following season. So it typically lasts for about 15 days. But we all know that change in the seasons where, for example, we're changing from summer to fall, and one day could be really hot and the next day maybe cool fall weather, and then you may now have another week of hot weather, and there's confusion in what to wear. But we also have that can really affect, that can cause confusion in our body, because we're also not really craving the foods of the previous season, and we haven't yet got into the foods of the coming season. Now, if we are in balance, we ideally start craving the foods of the coming season, but if we're out of balance, if there's toxins in the body, we won't get those subtle signals to make the shift. And this is why Ayurveda recommends cleansing during the transition of the seasons to really hit the reset button, get rid of any excess accumulation from the previous season. For example, at the end of summer, there's a natural accumulation of heat in the body, which for a high pitta constitution could cause rashes, skin conditions, maybe loose stool, diarrhea, heartburn, irritability because of that accumulation of heat. So a cleanse allows you to get rid of that accumulation so it doesn't affect your body, and then helps you transition into the next season. But if we don't do that, what happens is there can be a buildup of toxins in the body. And in Ayurveda, the toxins are called ama. It's like the generic name for toxins. It's a sticky substance that accumulates in the channels of the body, causing cellular intelligence, the prana, flowing between the cells to become blocked. Now, the concept of ama is unique to Ayurveda. In classical texts, Ayurveda describes ama as the underlying cause of many health issues. Whereas in Western medical approach, the focus is on the manifest state of the illness, in Ayurveda, it really focuses on handling the imbalance at their infancy. We talked about this before, where we catch the subtle signals our body's giving us when we're out of balance, and we eliminate them through mild but effective natural methods like using food, lifestyle, mindfulness techniques, herbal supplements. But if we don't catch it, it can lead to ama. It can lead to this white sticky substance. An area on the body where you can see that white sticky substance is on the tongue in the morning. There's a layer of ama on the tongue, and this is basically undigested food that's moved up over the food tract overnight, and everyone has that layer in the morning. That's why we recommend that you scrape your tongue in the morning. But if you notice it getting more clotted or thicker, then that is a sign that you have excess ama in the body. Other signs of ama in the body are tiredness, heaviness, just feeling lethargic, no get up and go, maybe aches and pains in the body. Blocked channels of the body, that could be in the digestion, like a really sluggish digestion. It could be sinuses, it could be sweat, urine, it could be the lymph channels. You could have excessive gas, maybe constipation. Foul smelling stool is also another sign of toxins in the body. Feeling uninspired, confused, maybe unclear, unmotivated, just you don't have any, like I said earlier, get up and go. You may even be feeling down, and that's because that cellular intelligence, that prana, is blocked. And making poor choices in food and lifestyle. You know, we talked about before how you know better, you know what you should be eating, but because you're feeling so tired and lethargic, you're getting the quick food, the fast food. You're not really inspired to go to the gym. So it really is a snowball effect. So what we want to do is make sure that those toxins don't build up in the body. And so how do we prevent this ama? How do we prevent the toxins from building up? Well, it's about eating the foods that are right for your constitution. And again, you'll get that in an Ayurvedic consultation. But it's about avoiding overeating or eating heavy foods in large quantity. So leaving some space in your stomach. You mean only leave about a third of your space in your stomach so you're not pushing away from the table feeling like you have to go lay on the couch. You want to avoid tamasic foods like leftovers that are, 2-3 days old, processed foods, canned foods, or foods with additives or colorings, junk foods. You want to avoid ice cold water. The ice cools the body down, which means your digestive fire is doused. So when you're drinking ice drinks with your food, the digestive fire has to build back up and then digest your food. So meanwhile, your food is sitting there, and that can cause toxins to accumulate while it's sitting there waiting for the body to heat back up. You want to eat freshly cooked foods. That can help prevent ama. Eating foods that are cooked so the body has an easy time digesting them, and making lunch your main meal of the day. So ideally we want to eat when the pitta is high in the environment, ideally eating between like 12 and 1:30, that according to the circadian rhythms is when our digestive fire is strongest. Eating in a calm environment, remember whatever we take into our senses can affect our digestion, so try to get away from the office, get away from your computer, take some time in nature just to eat your lunch. No matter how busy you are, this is important just to take a break, and it can improve the quality of your work when you go back. Never eat and run. Again, try to relax. Try to also wait and feel the real sensation of hunger. So rather than just going by what time the clock says, tuning into your body and, do I feel hungry? Am I ready for my next meal? Because if you're not feeling hungry, it means that the previous meal has not digested. And avoid drinking large amounts with your meal. It's okay to sip on room temperature or hot water, but taking huge gulps can just affect your digestion as well. Like I said, sips of hot water are ideal. So how do you treat ama? If you find that you have that feeling of heaviness, foggy mind, lethargy, maybe you have a very thick coating on your tongue, maybe you're feeling constipated, bloated, just out of balance, well, here are some simple tips to help you treat the ama. First of all would be to skip a meal. If you're, like I said a moment ago, if you're not feeling ready, feeling hungry for that meal, skip the meal and allow your body to digest the previous meal and wait until you feel the real signs of hunger. If you wanted, you could have, a light soup. That's a great way of really giving the body something that's easy digestible and light. Or you could have something like stewing some apples so it's cooked, so it's not too hard for the body to digest in its raw form, and maybe putting some cinnamon in there, because cinnamon is heating and that helps the digestive fire. You could also put like a teaspoon of ghee, the clarified butter, in there, which is very soothing to the digestive system. So that could be another great way to give yourself your body a little break and aiding the digestive system. You could also use digestive spices like ginger and black pepper and cumin seeds in your food. You could add a slice of fresh ginger to your morning lemon water, or drink herbal ginger tea throughout the day, particularly if you're feeling that digestive system is sluggish. And in Ayurveda, we do recommend cleansing at the joint of the seasons. So during that period of time when there's confusion in the environment, it will cause confusion in everyone's body, that this is the ideal time to reset the body and give your body some easy digestible foods, aiding your digestion during this time of confusion, when the toxins can accumulate in the body and cause problems. And so that's what I want to go talk about now is, well, how do we do that? And like I said, seasonal cleansing is a natural part of the Ayurvedic and the yogic lifestyle, and we normally do it twice a year. It's transition from summer to fall, and then from winter to spring. And what an Ayurvedic cleanse helps you do is to eliminate toxins, physical and emotional, from a cellular level. So the water-soluble toxins, we detox naturally every day. The water-soluble toxins come out through our sweat, through our urine. That's just natural elimination. However, the fat-soluble toxins are the stubborn ones. And this is where we can have toxins, but also emotional toxins. We talked about earlier how if we don't digest experiences or some big happenings in our life, if they're not digested, if they're not dealt with, they can be suppressed and be in the fat-soluble toxins as well. So by doing a cleanse, it helps to release all that old junk from the body that you don't want to carry forward into the next season. You want to go into the next season feeling inspired and clean and light, and you have vitality for life, rather than being held back and feeling heavy from the burdens of those toxins, both physical and mental. Doing a seasonal cleanse gives you time to pause and just evaluate, to hit the reset button, to tune inwards. But, especially now we're coming out of summer where it's very outward. We're out, we're social, we're outside a lot. There's always a high energy in summer, and we're transitioning into fall, which is a time more contemplative. It can be a time more philosophical. We go inwards. So we want to kind of hit the reset button, and it's a great opportunity to just tune into your body to, like we said, get rid of the accumulation doshas of the previous season, and to make the transition to the coming season, but also just to reevaluate, to take time out and go, okay, what's going on? Where am I? What are my intentions for the coming season? Because if we go from day to day, month to month, year to year, continuing on without stepping out and evaluating, just like we have an evaluation in our work, or we have, periods of time when we sit back and reflect. If we don't do that, we'll just keep on the same habits, and that can be causing imbalances in our body. Another purpose of the seasonal cleanse is to prevent the toxins from accumulating in the body, and to bring calm to the mind and the nervous system, less brain fog, less anxiety. Again, we're going into Vata season, where if we continued eating the foods of summer in fall and early winter, that can cause Vata to rise, because those foods are not appropriate for Vata. They're aggravating to Vata, which can cause constipation, dryness, anxiety, nervousness, mind spinning, all those Vata signs of imbalance. So we want to calm the nervous system. We want to calm the mind. We want to bring the body back into tune with the circadian rhythms. And again, in summer, we're kind of all over the place, especially if we haven't been in a routine. Lots of us take vacation, or maybe the kids are off school, so everything's out of routine. And I know I talk to a lot of parents who are looking forward to getting back into the routine of fall, into the routine of school, because you know that when your children are in a routine, that they're happier, that things flow easier. As fun as summer is, getting back into routine, and particularly into the circadian rhythms of nature, following the routines of the rhythms of nature for meals and for work and for sleep, that a seasonal cleanse will really help us do that. And I'm going to talk in another episode about the circadian rhythms, but really circadian rhythms is tells us how the doshas rise and fall during the day. So they not only appear in our body, they appear in the seasons, but they also appear in our 24-hour cycle. So we'll talk about that in the future. But basically for now, a seasonal cleanse will help you tune back into nature's rhythm, because when you do a cleanse, you'll be eating at a certain time, you'll be tuning into your body, and you'll be listening to your body's needs. The cleanse will also help you maintain a healthy body weight. So in an Ayurvedic cleanse, you're not fasting, but because you're eating easy digestible foods, you're getting rid of the accumulation of the doshas from the previous season. That can cause stagnation in the body, that can lead to weight gain. We're going to clear that out with a cleanse. There's going to be no accumulation. You're going to bring your body back into balance, so that nature is flowing through your body. You're digesting your food well, you're eliminating well, and so you're not gaining weight. And you'll also get to understand what foods are the right foods for you to eat. If you're eating the wrong foods for your body, that can cause weight gain. Whereas if you're eating the right foods for your constitutional type, your body is thriving, giving you lots of energy, and making sure that you don't gain weight. Season cleanse also clears the channels of the body. We talked about how when the interruption of nature in the body causes a blockage in the channels, whereas the cleanse will help clear the channels, the body, the sinuses, elimination channels, and the mental channels as well. And it brings you back into balance, just feeling energetic and enthusiastic for life. So there's many benefits to a seasonal cleanse. And let me talk a little bit now about the phases of a Ayurvedic cleanse, because it's very different from other cleanses. There are 3 weeks of a cleanse, and don't worry that you're not cleansing for 3 weeks. But the reason I have 3 weeks is because week 1 is about preparing for the cleanse, gradually preparing your body, so you don't go into a cleanse and all of a sudden you're eliminating all those foods and like caffeine or processed foods that you're normally eating, and then you have headaches, you're irritable, and you're just having a miserable time. So week 1 in the Ayurvedic cleanse is all about gradually taking you into the cleanse. Week 2 then is the main cleansing period. So it's 7 days, and during this time you're eating foods, and you're eating foods that are tailored to you. And then in week 3, it's all about rejuvenation. So at the end of any cleanse, your body is very depleted. And unfortunately, a lot of cleanses leave you there. Whereas in Ayurveda, it has a whole rejuvenation week built in, where you're gradually reintroducing foods back into the body. And this helps build a great foundation, a strong foundation of your cells and tissues. And it also gives you an opportunity to see how those foods react in your body. So because you're starting from a really clean foundation, a cleansed body, you can really feel how those foods that you're reintroducing affect your body and your mind. So the Ayurvedic cleanse is a nurturing cleanse, and the 3-week process it's not severe. I mean, it is a deep cellular cleanse, and you're pulling the toxins from the cells of the body, both physical and mental, bringing them to the GI tract, the gastrointestinal tract, and then eliminating them for the body. So we do have an elimination day, and that's done naturally. This whole cleanse is all natural whole foods. And like I said, I do group online cleanses twice a year. And my next one is coming up September 22nd to October 12th. And I like to take just a small number of people through the cleanse because I tailor the cleanse to each individual. For me, I like to have a 90-minute consultation online, and that could be by Skype, FaceTime, or phone, with each individual, and listen to their story, determine their constitution, see if they have a current imbalance, and then I will tailor the cleanse to them. So they'll get foods just for their body type or treating their imbalance, and they'll get yoga videos and meditation and breath work specifically for their needs. Because in Ayurveda, we know there's no one size fits all, and this is why I like to tailor the cleanse to each individual, and I really support you through the process as well. So the cleanse is it's very much a holistic cleanse, and it's all about making sure that the mind, the body, and the soul are brought through the cleanse. And in my package for the seasonal cleanse, like I said, you receive the 90-minute private consultation with me so I can tailor the cleanse to you. You get a weekly coaching webinar. There's yoga videos for your dosha, so that will be tailored to you, meditation tutorials, and I give different meditation and different breath work. There's also a pranayama or breath work tutorial. I'll give different breath work depending on your needs. There's also the recipes you receive, and the great thing is that you cook in batches, so you're not cooking every day. There's not a lot of work. You're cooking easy digestible foods, and again, the foods are tailored to each individual. It's all natural whole foods, and I do a live Q&A webinar every week, so you have an opportunity to come on live with me and ask me questions and give me feedback. And also I just support people online as well, support through email or calls. I'm very much on hand during the process, because for each person it's very individual and different experience. And also we have a great supportive community on Facebook, so we support each other, we keep each other accountable, and help each other through this process. And it's a real community building process, because it's something that my clients repeat over and over again, that they know, okay, I do my cleanse twice a year and it's just built in to my lifestyle, and I know that at the end of summer I'll cleanse, and that at the end of spring I'll cleanse, and it will help eliminate any of the accumulating toxins in the body. It will help me maintain an ideal body weight, and it will eliminate any of that heaviness, stagnation, or accumulation in the body, and also in the mind. Remember, the mind is really affected by our digestion. So Ayurveda believes that our digestive fire is key to our overall health, and we want to keep that digestive fire strong. So by doing a cleanse, we're keeping that digestive fire strong during that confusing transition of the seasons. And this is the key, because we don't want those toxins or that amla to accumulate, which is the bedrock of disease in the body. And that white sticky substance, we want to keep that controlled so that we don't have bigger problems down the road. So I now want to play you a clip from a previous client of mine who's going to talk about her experience with her Ayurvedic cleanse, what she felt and what she experienced and what she got out of the Ayurvedic seasonal cleanse. So here's Lisa. Hi, Lisa. Thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. And I really appreciate you coming on here and sharing your experience of the seasonal cleanse with all the listeners.
Hi, Colette. Thank you so much. I'm really happy to join you today on your podcast.
So let me first ask you, what was your past experience with cleanses?
I'd say over the last 12 to 15 years, I've probably done 1 to 2 cleanses a year. And they ranged from juice cleanses to smoothie cleanses to paleo cleanses, and anywhere from 1 day to 3 days to a week to 21 days.
Oh, wow. So you've had quite a bit of experience with different types of cleanses.
Yes, I have.
Wow. And so what made you choose an Ayurvedic cleanse?
Well, several reasons. The first one is, having been a client of yours and learning more about my dosha from the Ayurvedic consultation that I had with you, as well as going through your online course, I was already experiencing positive shifts in how my body and my mind and my spiritual being were responding to how I was now working with food and working with other modalities. So feeling more nurtured, more clear. And that was the main reason. And then the fact that you tailor the cleanse for each dosha, that was huge for me after knowing what my dosha was and what I needed. And then after I looked at your cleanse, the phases and the foods, it was very simple. It wasn't complicated. I wasn't in the kitchen preparing every day or every meal, which is very important. So I could do the food in batches for 2 days or so. And then the other thing too that was just so glaring to me is that the emphasis was on a balance. And so those are the reasons why I chose the Ayurvedic cleanse with you, Colette.
Great. Well, that's great. And so can you tell us a little bit about your experience and how this cleanse experience was different?
Hugely different.
Okay.
First of all, I wasn't starving.
That's good.
I didn't feel like I was depriving my body in any way.
Good.
And the other major aspect is in other cleanses, the first anywhere from 1 to 4 days, I had very debilitating headaches, low energy. I really couldn't function. Or if I was functioning, it was just at a much lower level. I didn't experience any of that. I didn't have the headaches. I didn't have the low energy. I was able to continue to work and function. So that was amazing for me.
Great. Great. Yeah. And that's what I like about the Ayurvedic cleanses too. It is very nurturing, and that you can continue on with life while you're cleansing. And it's a very gentle cleansing process.
Absolutely.
Great. Well, thank you for that. That's really great to hear. Now, how did you feel after the cleanse?
Well, actually, I wanted to add one more thing too. My
Sure.
husband had made the comment, he does not go through the cleanses. He just experiences me going through the cleanse. And he said this was the first time that he didn't feel he had to move out while I did.
Oh, that's good. So
all of you that know about that, that's huge.
So this cleanse not only cleans your body and your mind, but also keeps the domestic bliss.
Absolutely.
That's wonderful. Wow, that's a really great testimonial.
In terms of how I felt after the cleanse, boy, I just felt so fresh. I felt like my palate was recalibrated. I felt my body was very healthy. I had such clarity in my mind. And just overall, just this wonderful appreciation and rejuvenation that I felt after the cleanse.
Great, great. And talking about rejuvenation in this cleanse, the specific difference is that there is a rejuvenation week. So week 3 of the cleanse is all about rejuvenating and building back up the cells and tissues. Did you find that beneficial? Did you find that was very important?
Oh, I think that was an essential part of the cleanse, because then you're more aware of what foods really are not serving you.
Mm-hmm.
As you slowly reintroduce things into your normal way of eating, considering your dosha, and then just noticing how they impact your body or your mind. Certain feelings, whether it's sluggish or other biological issues that you may experience.
Right, absolutely. Okay, that's great. Yeah, because a lot of cleanses leave us feeling very depleted. So that's what I love about the Ayurvedic cleanse, is that week 3 it's all about building back up the cells and tissues, building a strong foundation, and you get the opportunity to, like you said, gradually reintroduce foods and do a little test on your body and see how your digestion reacts, see how your body and your mind reacts as you reintroduce foods.
Absolutely, yes.
That's great. So what was your biggest takeaway from this experience? What would you say was the thing that you really took away and then that you still continue?
Well, definitely what I just mentioned about certain foods, how they impact my body and my mind. Whether it's caffeine or grains or dairy. Sometimes we forget what that's like a few months after the cleanse, and then having those foods, and then the next day feeling that sluggish feeling or just not feeling clear. And so that was one of my biggest takeaways, was those foods that I slowly reintroduced into my body that don't serve me, and being mindful of, I need to really either eliminate or minimize consumption of those.
Right.
And I think the other thing too was that satisfying foods has nothing to do with the quantities consumed. Because I know in the past, when I've been through other cleanses, when it's time for my meal, whether it's liquid or solid, I'm ravenous.
Okay.
On those cleanses. With your cleanse, I was not ravenous. And in fact, I had to force myself the last few days to finish the portion that I put out for myself.
Okay. And I know that you have a high pitta constitution, so you have a strong digestive fire.
Right.
Yeah. So that's quite telling that you're feeling satisfied and fulfilled with the portions on this cleanse. That's great. Good. Okay, that's great. Well, thank you again for sharing. And finally, is there anything else that you would like to share with the listeners? Anything else that we didn't get to cover that you would like to add?
Yes, and the fact that you individualize the care that you provide to each of your clients is phenomenal. So always checking in, whether it's through a text or a Skype or a phone call, that part is huge. Checking in with you in terms of saying, you know what, I really am kind of tired of having this for my dinner. What can I do? And you would give me suggestions. So I think that's huge.
Okay, great. Yeah, I really like giving individual attention, and that's why I take just a certain number of people through the cleanse, because it's very important for me to connect with each person's story and their constitution and their imbalances and what exactly they need, and then being there to support them through it, because everyone's experience is extremely different on the cleanses, and it's fascinating for me to watch and to support a person through it as well, and as go through it to make adjustments, because everyone is so different that it's important that I maintain that contact with each person so I can give them feedback and make changes if necessary. So we have to be flexible in cleansing and in life, right?
Absolutely. And you do that. You are just very attentive, as you said, and just the support. There are times where you do need that support when you're going through a cleanse. And so Colette is definitely there with that. So thank you for that.
Oh, thank you. My pleasure. Yes. And not only is it a physical cleanse, we say, but it's also emotional, because there's a lot of emotions or undigested experiences that are trapped in the fat cells a lot of times. So when we think of cleanses, sometimes we think of this physically, but I've experienced myself and a lot of people having these old emotions and memories come up that were unresolved. So it can be quite sometimes challenging to go through that, but with the support, I really try support people through it and give them lots of mindfulness techniques as well. So great.
Yes. And that reminded me too of the fact that, the yoga that you provide in terms of the different doshas, checking in with you, on a day and saying, you know what, I'm feeling such and such. And so you're giving me guidance in terms of, okay, let's shift the yoga practice today for you to include this as opposed to that. So that was another wonderful aspect of it. So still being able to, exercise or do your sadhana or your meditation, and then getting that continued support and care and attention from you was amazing.
Oh, good. Well, good. I'm glad it was a good experience, Lisa, and I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your experience with others, because I think it's important when there's so much available out there and there's so much confusion as well, because there's so much marketed to us in regards to cleanses and should we fast, should we eat, what to do. I feel very comfortable in offering this cleanse because it's so natural. You're using whole foods. It's all completely natural. And I think it's great for you to share your experience, because it helps others when they listen to a genuine testimonial or review of a cleanse, that it helps them think about whether they want to invest in it or not. So I really appreciate you sharing your experience with us today, and thank you for all the lovely feedback.
My pleasure, and I'll be joining you in September.
Great. I look forward to having you on the journey again. Okay, thank you, Lisa. Take good care of yourself.
You too.
All
Bye-bye.
the best. Bye-bye. So I hope you enjoyed that information from Lisa. I hope it was helpful to you. I think it's great to hear a client's perspective. And if you want to find out more information on my seasonal cleanse, please go to my website, elementshealingandwellbeing.com, and you can go to the events tab and you'll see the seasonal cleanse information there, and you can contact me through there as well. But where it's happening soon, so make sure that if you are interested, I'm taking a limited number of people, so make sure that you schedule your 90-minute private consultation, because I only have a certain number of slots available for those, and then we can get you into the cleanse, get you feeling light and vibrant and clear of mind. Thanks so much for tuning in today. If you like the content, please subscribe so the shows will automatically download for you. And if you feel so called, I'd love if you would rate and review the show so that more people can find it and I can continue providing you with great information from Ayurveda and great interviews. Thank you, everybody. Take care and be well.